When you're renting in a place like California, the power dynamic between you and your landlord, well, it can feel completely broken. But what happens when tenants stop fighting their battles all alone and actually start organizing? That's what we're going to dig into today: the rise of tenant power and a new group that's right at the center of it all.
The California housing market is not merely volatile, it is a battlefield. Wow. I mean, that quote from our source material just gets right to the heart of it, doesn't it? For millions of renters, this isn't just about paying the bills on time. It's a constant, high-stakes struggle for a stable and, frankly, safe place to live.
So, this struggle really forces every renter to face a fundamental choice. Do you confront problems by yourself, or do you band together with your neighbors? And look, while joining forces seems like the obvious answer, the journey from just being frustrated by yourself to having real collective power, that's the real story here. And this slide, it just has it all. On the left, you've got the individual tenant. You feel isolated, you're often unaware of all your rights, and you're pretty vulnerable to pressure. But then, look at the right. That dynamic completely flips. By uniting, tenants get visibility, they get a single unified voice in a much, much stronger position when it's time to negotiate. This is the whole idea behind a tenants union. Okay, so that's the theory. But how does this actually become a reality? Well, a new force has emerged right from this struggle, a grassroots power engine that's built by tenants for tenants. And here it is, the California Tenants Union, or CTU. And those two little phrases on the slide, they are everything: grassroots and organizer-led. This is not some slow, top-down government agency. It was literally born in December 2023 on Skid Row, founded by people who know housing insecurity firsthand. That direct, lived experience is in its DNA. And this independence is a huge strategic advantage. Government agencies can get so bogged down in bureaucracy and red tape, but the CTU can stay nimble, it can stay agile, and it can focus on one single mission: building collective power for tenants. But hey, grassroots does not mean informal. The CTU is formally registered with both the state of California and the IRS. Now, this isn't just paperwork, this is institutional legitimacy. It's what turns a group of concerned neighbors into a recognized entity that landlords are actually forced to take seriously. Their whole structure is built for speed. So while they have a formal constitution and bylaws, the leadership under State President Dean Nashville Stabilito is deliberately lean. This design helps them stay super responsive and avoid the kind of bureaucratic drag that can stall action right when tenants need it the most. So we know who they are. But what do they actually do? How does the CTU take all these principles and turn them into a practical, hands-on toolkit for tenants on the ground? Well, it starts with Pillar 1, direct advocacy. When a tenant is facing harassment or needs critical repairs, the union actually steps in. This is an absolute game changer, because it helps neutralize the fear of retaliation, which is the #1 reason so many tenants just stay silent. Next up, Pillar 2, community education. They run workshops on housing law. Think of it this way: they're arming tenants with knowledge as a shield. This makes it so much harder for landlords to use illegal notices or shady intimidation tactics. I mean, it's just a lot harder to push someone around when they know their rights, right? They also provide legal assistance. For the really serious stuff like evictions, the union connects tenants with legal experts. This is all about leveling the playing field, making sure that tenants aren't totally outgunned by a landlord's expensive team of lawyers. And finally, Pillar 4, they build support networks. Honestly, this might be the most important piece of the entire puzzle. It's about ending that feeling of isolation that landlords can so easily exploit. By creating a real community, the CTU makes sure no tenant has to go through a housing crisis alone. There's real power and just relief in that. And this quote from the source material just sums it up perfectly. The CTU's strategy isn't just about providing services, it's about systematically dismantling the landlord's two most effective weapons: your potential ignorance of the law and your social isolation from your neighbors. So how does this work in practice? Well, the path to power follows 3 pretty clear steps. First, you form a core group by identifying the shared concerns that everybody in the building has. Second, you integrate with the union, formalizing your group to get access to all their statewide resources. And finally, you move to coordinated action, shifting from just scattered individual complaints to unified, building-wide demands. So what's the real outcome of all this? When tenants follow this path, what actually changes? Well, this is where we see that individual struggle transform into tangible collective power that gets real results. The result is that an informal group of concerned neighbors becomes a recognized official chapter of a statewide movement. And with that recognition comes respect. You are no longer just a collection of individuals with separate problems. You are a unified block that management has to take seriously in any negotiation. And crucially, no tenant council is an island. The CTU connects them with other unions and big statewide coalitions. This means a threat against one building isn't just a little local dispute anymore. It's a challenge to a whole statewide movement. And that network provides a powerful, powerful layer of protection. And here's the thing that makes all of this possible: the law itself. California law explicitly protects a tenant's right to organize, and it strictly prohibits landlords from retaliating. This legal framework is the shield that empowers this entire movement. Which leaves us with a final, really powerful question to think about. The law gives every single tenant a shield. So, what happens when they decide to pick up that shield and use it? Not alone, but together. The potential of that collective action is definitely something worth thinking about.